Hello, this is Charles Bukowski reading from his own stuff. Buffalo Bill. Whenever the landlord and landlady get beer drunk, she comes down here, knocks on my door. I go down and drink beer with them. They sing old-time songs, and he keeps drinking until he falls over backwards in his chair. Then I get up, tilt the chair up, and then he's back at the table again, grabbing at a beer can. The conversation always gets around to Buffalo Bill. They think Buffalo Bill is very funny. So I always ask, what's new with Buffalo Bill? Oh, he's in again. They locked him up. They came and got him. Why? Same thing, only this time it was a woman from the Jehovah's Witness. She rang his bell and was standing there talking to him, and he showed her his thing, you know. She came down and told me about it, and I told her, why did you bother that man? Why did you ring his bell? He wasn't doing anything to you. But no, she had to go and tell the authorities. And he phoned me from jail. Well, I did it again. Why do you keep doing that? I asked him. I don't know, he said. I don't know what made me do that. You shouldn't do that, I told him. I know I shouldn't do that, he told me. How many times has he done that, I asked him. Oh, God, I don't know, 8 or 10 times. He's always doing it. He's got a good lawyer, though. He's got a damn good lawyer. Who'd you rent his place to? Oh, we don't rent his place. We always keep his place open for him. We like him. Did I tell you the night he was drunk and out on the lawn naked and an airplane went overhead and he pointed to the lights? All you could see was the taillights and stuff, and he pointed to the lights and yelled, I am God, I put those lights in the sky. No, you didn't tell me about that. Have a beer first and I'll tell you about it. I had a beer first. A little atomic bomb. Oh, just give me a little atomic bomb. Not too much, just a little. Enough to kill a horse in the street. But there aren't any horses in the street. Well, enough to knock the flowers from a bowl. But I don't see any flowers in a bowl. Enough then to frighten my love. But I don't have any love. Well, give me an atomic bomb then to scrub in my bathtub like a dirty and lovable child. I've got a bathtub. Just a little bomb, General, with pug nose, pink ears, smelling like underclothes in July. Do you think I'm crazy? I think you're crazy, too. So, the way you think, send me one before somebody else does. The hairy, hairy fist, and love will die. The dull haunches will sit in chairs and fart. See the paper flowers, old women in Lent, horse with a broken leg, spider, taking it in. Wrinkles under bedpan chins. Acromegaly. Diverticulitis. Tabes dorsalis. Your soul, filled with mud and bats and curses, and the hammers will go in. There will be the hairy, hairy fists, and love will die. Love will stroke the balls of your worst enemy, and your neck will ache, and toilet paper will stick in your crotch. And out the window, the same. Pictures of torture and murder and horror. Cats with birds, cats with mice, dogs with cats, blind men like ivory needing a shave, and the petulant and nasty children of the universe, stealing, climbing, planning, cutting, warring. All was so healthy, all was so strong. Your soul will feel so bad that the saliva will run from your mouth in cupfuls. Patches of paint and sores will appear on your face and under your arms, and sleep will be the last thing they will let you have. Men you could trust will fade like children's drawings. Your wife will hate you. Your child will ignore you. Your boss will fire you. The police will jail you, and there'll be no bottom. The soul will fall like a wounded bird of paradise into the most horrible, stinking swill of shit. And still no death. Still no death. You will fail at death, too. And there will not even be the peace of isolation, the final gray-black cellar. Just more hammers, more saws, more engines, more bad music, more relaxed voices of zero. You'll be ripped up and down until your clothing no longer fits you. You'll be the scarecrow, the rag, the smiling rag of a thing. And the enemy, which is everyone, will appear beautifully clothed, calm, smiling, driving smooth rolls of shining steel, and the sun will fall upon him like a flower. Your soul will feel so bad that you know it will not ever quite live again, and there'll be nothing you can do. Drink will not patch it. Prayer will not save it. Praise from the enemy will not heal it. Nothing will work. Nothing will be nothing like a harp with broken strings in somebody's corner and somebody's misery garbage. While all around, like the 4th of July, like betting with a virgin, like champagne over the head of easy wildness, the force of other things and other ways will celebrate the occasion, their existence without you. Bukowski still here with all the shades pulled down on a sunny afternoon. Are you still with us? Okay. Just a Salem. Don't get excited. This one is called Bukowski still here with all the shades pulled down on a sunny afternoon. Are you still with us? Okay. Just a Salem. Don't get excited. This one is called An Action Afternoon. Harold Sane, his driver's license said. They found him alone in the wooden walls, beholden to a salt shaker, a boiled potato, a third cup of tea from the same bag, and from his radio still came the sound of a giant tonality, somebody's dead symphony. On his dresser a note. I drink my tea and wait for orange mornings or a spike through my head. The spike was not through his head. They found him on the tile to the bathroom floor. Ripped, slashed, gutted. Bone, meat, and dirty enamel. He was a poor housekeeper. Under the sink they found beer and wine bottles, a bag of orange peelings, old newspapers, and the sink stank with dishes and stale, creamy water. Some ants had come, some roaches. His driver's license had expired, and he was a week behind in the rent. As they took him outside, as they carried him through the doorway, the 1 o'clock in the afternoon ladies of the neighborhood expressed their judgment, criticism, cow-like horror, horse-like joy, as 2 roaches clenched beneath the sink and fucked. Hello, little children. How are you today? Okay. Finish. The hearse comes through the room filled with the beheaded, the disappeared, the living mad. The flies are a glue of sticky paste. Their wings will not lift. I watch an old woman beat her cat with a broom. The weather is unendurable, a dirty trick by God. The water has evaporated from the toilet bowl. The telephone rings without sound, the small, limp arm petering against the bell. I see a boy on his bicycle, the spokes collapse, the tires turn into snakes and melt away. The newspaper is oven hot. Men murder each other in the streets without reason. The worst men have the best jobs. The best men have the worst jobs, or are unemployed, or locked in madhouses. I have 4 cans of food left. Air-conditioned troops go from house to house, from room to room, jailing, shooting, bayoneting the people. We have done this to ourselves. We deserve this. It is as if the sun has become disgusted with waiting. It is as if the sun were a mind that has given up on us. I go out on the back porch and look across the sea of dead plants, now thorns and sticks shivering in a windless sky. Somehow I'm glad we're through, finished, the works of art, the wars, the decayed loves, the way we lived each day. When the troops come up here, I don't care what they do, for we've already killed ourselves each day we get out of bed. I'll go into the kitchen, spill some hash from a soft can. It is almost cooked already, and I sit eating, looking at the fingernails, my fingernails. The sweat comes down behind my ears, and I hear the shooting in the streets, and I chew and I wait without wonder. No charge. This babe in the grandstand with dyed red hair kept leaning her breasts against me and talking about Gardena poker parlors. But I blew smoke into her face and told her about a Van Gogh exhibition I'd seen up on the hill. And that night when I took her home, she said Big Red was the best horse she'd ever seen until I stripped down. Though I think on the Van Gogh thing they charged 50 cents. Love is a piece of paper torn to bits. All the beer was poisoned, and the captain went down, and the mate and the cook, and we had nobody to grab sail. And the northwester ripped the sheets like toenails, and we pitched like crazy, the hull tearing its sides, and all the time in the corner, sunk Punk had a drunken slut, my wife, and was pumping away like nothing was happening. And the cat kept looking at me and crawling in the pantry amongst the clanking dishes with flowers and vines painted on them until I couldn't stand it anymore and took the thing and heaved it over the side. Something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. We have everything and we have nothing. And some men do it in churches, and some men do it by tearing butterflies in half. And some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blondes with Cadillac souls. Cadillacs and butterflies, nothing and everything. The face melting down to the last puff in a cellar in Corpus Christi. There's something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Something at 8 a.m., something in the library, something in the river. Everything and nothing. In the slaughterhouse, it comes running along the ceiling on a hook, and you swing it. 1, 2, 3, and then you've got it. $200 worth of dead meat, its bones against your bones, something and nothing. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late, and the drill of blood in the basin white, it tells you nothing at all, and the grave diggers playing poker over 5 a.m. coffee, waiting for the grass to dismiss the frost. They tell you nothing at all. We have everything and we have nothing. Days with the glass edges and the impossible stink of river moss, worse than shit. Checkerboard days of moves and counter moves, fagged interest with as much sense in defeat as in victory. Slow days like mules humping it slagged and sullen and sun-glazed up a road where a madman sits waiting among blue jays and wrens, netted in and sucked to flaky gray. Good days, too, of wine and shouting, fights in alleys, fat legs of women striven around your bowels, buried in moans, the signs in bull rings like diamonds hollering Mother Capri, violets coming out of the ground, telling you to forget the dead armies and the loves that robbed you. Days when children say funny and brilliant things, like savages trying to send you a message through their bodies while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel and run up and down without locks and paychecks and ideals and possessions and beetle-like opinions. Days when you can cry all day long in a green room with the door locked. Days when you can laugh at the bread man because his legs are too long. Days of looking at hedges and nothing. The days of the bosses, yellow men with bad breath and big feet, men who look like frogs, hyenas, men who walk as if melody had never been invented, men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit, men with expensive wives they possess like 60 acres of ground to be drilled or shown off or to be walled away from the incompetent. Men who'd kill you because they're crazy and justify it because it's the law. Men who stand in front of windows 30 feet wide and see nothing. Men with luxury yachts who can sail around the world and yet never get out of their vest pockets. Men like snails, men like eels, men like slugs, and not as good. And nothing. Getting your last paycheck at a harbor, at a factory, at a hospital, at an aircraft plant, at a penny arcade, at a barber shop, at a job you didn't want anyway. Income tax, sickness, servility, broken arms, broken heads, all the stuffing come out like an old pillow. We have everything and we have nothing. Some do it well enough for a while and then give way. Fame gets them, or disgust, or age, or lack of proper diet, or ink across the eyes, or children in college, or new cars, or broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, or new politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. The man you knew yesterday hooking for 10 rounds, or drinking for 3 days and 3 nights by the Sawtooth Mountains, now just something under a sheet or a cross or a stone or under an easy delusion, or packing a Bible or a golf bag or a briefcase. How they go, all the ones you thought would never go. Days like this, like your day today. Maybe the rain on the window trying to get through to you. What do you see today? What is it? Where are you? The best days are sometimes the first, sometimes the middle, and even sometimes the last. The vacant lots are not bad. Churches in Europe on postcards are not bad. People in wax museums frozen into their best sterility are not bad. Horrible, but not bad. The canon, think of the canon. and toast for breakfast, and coffee hot enough to know your tongue is still there. 3 geraniums outside a window, trying to be red and trying to be pink and trying to be geraniums. No wonder sometimes the women cry. No wonder the mules don't want to go up the hill. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit looking for a cigarette? One more good day, a little bit of it. And as the nurses come out of the building after their shift, having had enough, 8 nurses with different names and different places to go, walking across the lawn. Some of them want cocoa and a paper. Some of them want a hot bath. Some of them want a man. Some of them are hardly thinking at all. Enough and not enough. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. In the most decent, sometimes sun, there's the soft smoke feeling from urns and the canned sound of old battle planes. And if you go inside and run your finger along the window ledge, you'll find dirt, maybe even earth. And if you look out the window, there will be the day. And as you get older, you'll keep looking, sucking your tongue in a little. Ah, no, maybe. Some do it naturally, some obscenely, everywhere. Song for sadists without a place to sit down. Positively grieve no more. Ultimo, par chavi, par grassi, hold still, bitch. The evergreen leaves, showers of broccoli love, heaving like a rabbit in a wolf's mouth. You play my flute, broccoli. Pachavi, save me thunder. Elephant moth of everything. I sink and stink in saliva. Domino, estes, vulgamo, taurus, pissimo, shitimo, ock. I deliver handshakes like bombs in the cellar of the Pope. The Pope is pious, I am not. I wear hobnailed boots up the sides of virgins drinking buttermilk. Please, Popolo, sesame drag. The winter chances of nude victory divide the singers from the papal's singular swoop. If eels can climb mountains, men can be eels. If eels can fornicate, men can be eels. Lay sperm like dice in the center of my brain. See what comes out. Walt Whitman staring out the window at the sailors, or Hart Crane, done in and robbed, discussing the bridge with Osh. No, that is not me. Domino, populi, domino. In spring, the heather says swish. In summer, the heather says wish. In autumn, the heather says die. In wintertime, she dies. Domino pop. I am still here. I'm still here, yeah. The genius of the crowd. There is enough treachery, hatred, violence, absurdity in the average human being to supply any given army on any given day. And the best at murder are those who preach against it. And the best at hate are those who preach love. And the best at war, finally, are those who preach peace. Those who preach God need God. Those who preach peace do not have peace. Those who preach love do not have love. Beware the preachers. Beware the knowers. Beware those who are always reading books. Beware those who either detest poverty or are proud of it. Beware those quick to praise, for they need praise in return. Beware those quick to censor. They are afraid of what they do not know. Beware those who seek constant crowds. They are nothing alone. Beware the average man, the average woman. Beware their love. Their love is average, seeks average, but there is genius in their hatred. There is enough genius in their hatred to kill you, to kill anybody. Not wanting solitude, not understanding solitude, they will attempt to destroy anything that differs from their concepts. Not being able to create art, they will not understand art. They will consider their failure as creators only as a failure of the world. Not being able to love fully, they will believe your love incomplete, and then they will hate you. And their hatred will be perfect, like a shining diamond, like a knife, like a mountain, like a tiger, like hemlock. Their finest art. Farewell, foolish objects. I've lain in bed all day, but I've written one poem and I'm up now, looking out the window, and like a novelist might say, drunk. The clouds are coming at me like scullery maids with dishpans and bedpans in their hands. Something that holds a gritty, dirty water. But I'm a drunken non-novelist, but in clear shape now. Here sits the bottle of beer, and I'm warmly thinking in a kind of foam-shaped idle fancy, working closely. But all I can stoke up are squares and circles which do not fit. So, well, messieurs, I'll tell you the truth again. In bed, I read another article on D. Thomas, and someday I'll get lucky and sit around and buy a French horn and a tame eagle, and I'll sit on the porch all day, a white porch always in the sun. One of those white porches with green vines all around, and I will read about Dylan and D.H. until my eyes fall out of my head for eagle meat, and I can play the French horn blind. But even now it gets darker, the evening thing into night. The bones down here, the stars up there. Somebody rattling the springs in Denver so another puker can be born. I think everything is a sheet of sun, and the best of everything is myself walking through it, wondering about the pure nerve of the life thing going on after the jails, the hospitals, the factories, the good dogs, the brainless butterflies. But now I'm back at the window. There's an opera on the radio, and a woman sits in a chair to my left, saying over and over again, "Brat, brat, brat." And she's holding a book in her hand. How to learn Russian easily. But there's nothing really you can do easily. Live or die or accept fame or money or defeat, it's all hard. The opera says this: the dead birds, the dead countries, the dead loves. The man shot because somebody thought he was an elk. The elk shot because somebody thought it was an elk. All the pure nerve of going on. This woman wanting to speak Russian. Myself wanting to get drunk. But we need something to eat. "Grind, cat, grind meat," says the woman in Russian, so I figure she's hungry. And we haven't eaten in a couple of hours. "Clam, bayonet, turkey, pork, and pork," she says. And I walk over and put on my pants, and I'm going out to get something. The forests are far away, and I am no good with the bow and arrow. And somebody sings on the radio, "Farewell, foolish objects." All I can do is walk into a grocery store and pull out a wallet and hope that it's loaded. And this is about how I waste my Sundays. The rest of the week goes better because there's something or somebody telling me what to do. And although it seems madness, almost everybody is doing it, whatever it is. So now, if you'll excuse me, she's eating an orange now, I will put on my shoes and shirt and get out of here. It'll be better for all of us. Wake up, wake up. Let me have another beer here. Just a minute. Experience. There's a lady down the hall who paints butterflies and insects, and there are little statues in the room. She works with clay. And I went in there, and I sat on the couch and had something to drink. Then I noticed one of the statues had his back turned to us. He stood there brooding, poor bastard, and I asked the lady, "What's wrong with him?" And she said, "Nah, I messed him up in front, sort of." "I see," I said, and finished my drink. You haven't had too much experience with men." She laughed and brought me another drink. We talked about clay, death of Cummings, art, survival, and so forth. "You ought to know more about men," I told her. "I know," she said. "Do you like me?" "Of course," I told her. She brought me another drink. We talked about Ezra Pond, Van Gogh, all those things. She sat down next to me. I remember she had a small white mustache. She told me I had a good life flow and was manly. I told her she had nice legs. We talked about Mahler. I don't remember leaving. I saw her a week later and she asked me in. I fixed him, she said. Who? I asked. My man in the corner, she told me. Good, I said. Want to see? She asked. Sure, I said. She walked to the corner and turned him around. He was fixed, all right. My God, it was me. Then I began to laugh, and she laughed, and the work of art stood there, a very beautiful thing. At the end of feet, the blackbird walks, shocked by palisades of ice and worn-out shoes, shocked by nerve gas, shocked by pinnacles of spinach, shocked by the broken-winged bluebird. Old Notre Dame football teams run through my room, fans whirl inside stovepipes, never getting a Pulitzer Prize. Shakespeare's 401. Joe Louis is 51. A young boy stands outside throwing dust-dry rocks against a garage. Fap, fap, fap. Shocked by the body's limpet drag, disease, flab. Shocked by tourniquets of music in elevators. Not shocked to learn that Beethoven was a drunkard. The angular daydream huddles against the fence like an old man. Jesus, Charlie, it says. Jesus, Charlie, they surely got us now. Then night fear. Fear of never sleeping with a young girl who never heard of Rimbaud. Fear of platitude and poverty. Fear of the long death. Fear of cameras and landlords and bosses. Fear of children and wives. Fear of cancer and round shoulders. Fear that Sartre's asleep. Fear that Janae is kidding. Fear that there isn't anybody here. In a dozen years, I will be gray and almost dead. In a dozen years, I will be dead. At the end of feet, the blackbird walks. The woman behind me dries her pants on the heater. China and Russia curse at the bar. France sits back, holding a small blade in pocket. I wish I were truly gross, not this way, the way people say I am. I wish I were truly gross. Weighed 366 pounds and sat at a back table in Paris, 6 novels behind me, about ready to die and waiting, eating something out of a pot, a 1/2 live rabbit, regarding the women as soot, the world as soot, knowing the ground will bring up potatoes, coal, old graves, diamonds, knowing a joke about the sun and partly about what God is up to. Sitting there, an accumulation, spooning it down, glowing pink and famed and not caring under electric light. And I, with only a temporary will, All the waitresses frightened, trembling in their silly flowered panties. All the young boys wanting to know how it's done, what the equation is. And I am, after all, truly gross. I get up and walk out, electric, into darkness, and crack my cane head against the building. Fap! And that is it. 2 jet planes pass to the left now. I see a white and yellow roof through a dead walnut tree. The shock is in seeing and feeling and never knowing. It is a knowing that makes you gross. There's nothing to know. Maybe knowing this makes you gross. I may make Paris yet. Continued on other side, all about Paris, etc. May, gross, yeah. Still Bukowski working. I'm afraid getting drunker, and I guess oh hell. We left off, I may make Paris yet, big deal. The next stanza begins something like this. And I will send you a great sealed letter with a black scrawl at the bottom, thick and demented. I will play famous and you will smile. Now I see some orange roses. This is good. This is good. There's no shock for me in orange roses. Not today. If they ever stick out of my vest or a cup, it will be the same. I see smoke out of my window. Time to quit. It may be fire. Bukowski. Man in the Sun. She reads to me from the New Yorker, which I don't buy. Don't know how they got in here, but something about the Mafia, one of the heads of the Mafia who ate too much and had it too easy. Too many fine women patting his walnuts. He got fat, sucking at good cigars and young breasts, and he had these heart attacks. And so one day, somebody's driving him in this big car along the road, and he doesn't feel so good, and he asks the boy to stop and let him out, and the boy lays him out along the road in the fine sunshine. I don't know whether it's Crete or Sicily or Italy proper, but he's lying there in the sunshine, and before he dies he says, "How beautiful life can be," and then he's gone. Sometimes you got to kill 4,000 or 5,000 men before you somehow get to believe that the sparrow is immortal. Money is piss, and that you've been wasting your time. Sing to gods or kangaroos. The fire circles like a worm inside the radio. It is the nuns, it is the nuns, it is the nuns, with yellow teeth dancing in the sun. It is ladders gone mad with brain and wrinkling in the air like tragedy. My, it gets so fearful, it gets so fearful, it gets me, wrinkles me without consultation, birds in my dreams walking with canes, people in my world walking like nightmares. It gets fearful like gas, barbed wire, picture books of doctors, the history of the world. I need pans of ice. I need colored tubes to spit light into eyes. I need straighter backs, money, watchdogs, a horse in Florida, and afternoons to throw away like old napkins. I need 45 days to sleep. I need to beat hell out of somebody. I need to kneel among roses like a madman and sing to gods or kangaroos, however you spell it out. And however you spell it out, it's going nowhere and I'm going with it. Of all the beauty I can think of is maybe 10 minutes staring at an old bell nobody knows about, or smelling my toes like a cranky kid. Or 30 minutes with John Dillinger listening to how it happened. Of all the beauty I can think of is watching a long freight of boxcars go by, sunburnt and hurt and wooden, myself watching. Yet, now all I can see is some kind of color. A green thin yellow, steam-like, threads, warm, belonging and not belonging. All I can see is windows and streets and dirt that wants to cry. It is getting late and the shades go down. Pictures of long-legged girls stroll through my brain. And the caterpillar wants to speak my name. It knows me. It does. The nuns dance. There goes my landlord and his little folks in and out. Those guys get in that car and out. They drive off somewhere. They come back. They drive off. They leave. They come back. They're situated in the spot where they have leisure, but they don't know what the hell to do with it. They want to be doing something, so getting in that Volks and driving off and running an errand of some silly sort fulfills them. They check little ads in the newspaper, corn, 4 years for a quarter. They'll drive halfway across town to get that. A Volks isn't supposed to burn gas. Well, fuck. Let's forget them. I just heard the car door slam again. Well, they're good friends. We get drunk together. I shouldn't knock them. But I understand their weakness. I hope they understand mine. The Japanese wife. Oh, Lord, he said. Japanese women, real women, they have not forgotten. Or German women in the doorway, or even beetles from Siam. What will you have, bending and smiling and closing wounds men have made? But American women will kill you just like they tear a lampshade. American women care less than a dime. They've gotten derailed. They're too nervous to make good. Always smiling, belly aching, disillusioned, overwrought. But oh Lord, say the Japanese women. There was this one. I came home and the door was locked. And when I broke in, she broke out the bread knife and chased me under the bed. And her sister came. And they kept me under that bed 3 days. And when I came out at last, she didn't mention attorneys, just said, "You will never wrong me again." And I didn't. But she died on me. In dying, she said, "You can wrong me now." And later I did. But you know, I felt worse then than when she was living. There was no voice, no knife, nothing but little Japanese prints on the wall, all those tiny people sitting by red rivers flying with green birds. And I took them down and put them upside down in a drawer with my shirts. It was the first time I realized that she was dead, even though I'd buried her. And someday I'll take them all out again. All the tan-faced little people sitting happily by their bridges and huts and mountains. But not right now, not just yet, man. Bukowski's still at it. The curtains are waving and people walk through the afternoon here and in Berlin and in New York City and in Mexico. I wait on life like a pregnancy, with the stethoscope to the gut. But all I hear now is the piano slamming its teeth through areas of my brain. Somebody in this neighborhood likes Gershwin, which is too bad for me. And the woman sits behind me, sits there, and keeps lighting cigarettes. And now the nurses leave the hospital near here, and they wear dresses that are naked in the sun to cheer the dead and the dying and the doctors. Especially the doctors, but it does not help me. If I could rip them with moans of delight, it would neither add or take away anything. Now, a horn blows a tired summer like a gladiola given up and leaning against a house. And the bottles we have emptied would strangle the sensibilities of God himself. Now I look up and see my face in the mirror. If I could only kill the man who killed the man. More than coffee pots and cheroots have done me in. More than myself has done me in. Madness comes like a mouse out of the cupboard, and they hand me a photograph of the moon. The woman behind me has a daughter who falls in love with men in beards and sandals and berets, who smoke pipes and carefully comb their hair and play chess and talk continually of the soul and of art. This is good enough. You've got to love something. Now the landlord waters outside, dripping the plants with false rain. Gershwin is finished now. It sounds like Greek. It's all so common and hard, impossible. I do wish somebody would go blackberry wild. I do wish they would. But no, I do suppose it will be the same. A beer, and then another beer, and then another beer. Maybe then a half pint of scotch, 3 cigars. Smoke, yes, smoke. Under the electric sun of night, hidden here in these walls with this woman and her life while the police are taking the drunks off the streets. I do not know how much longer I can last, but I keep thinking, oh my God, the gladiola will straight and hard and full of color like an arrow pointing at the sun. Christ will shudder like marmalade. My cat will look like Gandhi once looked. Everything, even the tile in the men's room at the Union Station will be true. All those mirrors there, finally with faces in them. Roses, forests, no more policemen, no more me. Freedom. He drank wine all night, the night of the 28th, and he kept thinking of her. The way she walked and talked and loved, the way she told him things that seemed true but were not. And he knew the color of each of her dresses and her shoes. He knew the stock and curve of each heel as well as the leg shaped by it. And she was out again when he came home. And she'd come back with that special stink again, and she did. She came in at 3 a.m. in the morning, filthy like a dung-eating swine, and he took out the butcher knife, and she screamed, backing into the rooming house wall, still pretty somehow in spite of love's reek, and he finished the glass of wine. That yellow dress, his favorite, and she screamed again. And he took up the knife and unhooked his belt and tore away the cloth before her and cut off his balls and carried them in his hands like apricots and flushed them down the toilet bowl. And she kept screaming as the room became red. God, oh God, what have you done? And he sat there, holding 3 towels between his legs, not caring now whether she left or stayed, wore yellow or green or anything at all. And one hand holding and one hand lifting, he poured another wine. Man, if Will Rogers were here, we'd really be good friends, wouldn't we? Yeah. Man, I really hated that son of a bitch when I was a kid. What a false, phony front. Oh, shit. I never met a man I didn't like. Jesus Christ. Now there's a real brain for you, right? Looking toward God. Anyhow, let's get on. Let's get on with the next fucking thing. I'm doing a worse and worse job, but let's try and wrap it out. This one's called True Story. They found him walking along the freeway, all red in front. He'd taken a rusty tin can and cut off his sexual machinery as if to say, "See what you've done to me? You might as well have the rest." And he put part of him in one pocket and part of him in another, and that's how they found him, walking along. They gave him over to the doctors, who tried to sew the parts back on. But the parts were quite contented the way they were. I think sometimes if all the good ass turned over to the monsters of the world, maybe it was as protest against this or as protest against everything. A one-man freedom march that never squeezed in between the concert reviews and the baseball scores. God or somebody bless him. She came to my place drunk, riding a deer up on the front porch. So many women want to save the world but can't keep their own kitchen straight. But me? We went inside where I'd only let, but I got them under the drawer, and I lighted 3 red candles, poured the wine, and took notes on her. Latitude behind, longitude in front, and the rest amazing. A woman such as this could find a zinnia in Heart Springs. Not only Heart Springs, but any kind of springs, Arkansas. We ate venison for 3 weeks. Then she slept with the landlord to help pay the rent. Then I found her a job as a waitress. I slept all day, and when she came home, I was full of the brilliant conversation that she so much adored. She died quickly one night, leaving the world much the way it had been. Now I get up early, go down to the loading docks and wait for cabbages, oranges, potatoes to fall from the trucks to be thrown away. Thrown away or thrown away. By noon, I've eaten and am asleep, dreaming of paying the rent with numbered chunks of plastic strips issued by a better world. Well, I really fucked that one up. I should have said by numbered chunks of plastic cunts issued by a better world. She came to my place drunk, riding a deer up on the front porch. So many women want to save the world but can't keep their own kitchen straight. But me? We went inside where I'd only let, but I got them under the drawer, and I lighted 3 red candles, poured the wine, and took notes on her. Latitude behind, longitude in front, and the rest amazing. A woman such as this could find a zinnia in Heart Springs. Not only Heart Springs, but any kind of springs, Arkansas. We ate venison for 3 weeks. Then she slept with the landlord to help pay the rent. Then I found her a job as a waitress. I slept all day, and when she came home, I was full of the brilliant conversation that she so much adored. She died quickly one night, leaving the world much the way it had been. Now I get up early, go down to the loading docks and wait for cabbages, oranges, potatoes to fall from the trucks to be thrown away. Thrown away or thrown away. By noon, I've eaten and am asleep, dreaming of paying the rent with numbered chunks of plastic strips issued by a better world. Well, I really fucked that one up. I should have said by numbered chunks of plastic cunts issued by a better world. Well, what are you gonna do? Alright, if you can't waste tape, you can't waste anything. If you can't waste anything, you might as well quit. So, the next move is mine, right? And I'm too loaded to even be decent. Alright, let's try some more just for laughs. So, ho ho ho. A report upon the consumption of myself. I am a panther corked out and bellowing in cement walls. And I'm angry at blue evenings without ventilators. And I'm angry with you. And it will come like a rose. It will come like a man walking through fire. It will shine like an unseen trumpet in a trunk. The eyes will smell like sausages. The feet will have small propellers. And I will hold you in Bayonne, and the sailors will smile, and my heart, like something cut away from cancer, will feel and beat again, feel and beat again. But now the blue evening is cinched like old muskets, and the dangling sex rope hangs as the tree stands up and calls July. And the dust of hope in the bottom of paper cups, along with small spiders that have names like ancient European cities. Cuckoo spit and dross, heavy wheels, oil wells stuck between fish and sucking up gray grass of love. And the palms up on the cliff waving in the warm yellow light. As I walk into a drugstore to buy toothpaste, rubbers, photographs of frogs, a copy of the latest Consumer Reports, 50 cents. For I consume and I am consumed. I would like to know on this blue evening just which razor blade it would be best for me to use. Or maybe I could get a station wagon or buy a stereo receiver, a movie camera, say 8mm under $55, or an electric frying pan. Like the silver head of some god thing after they drop the bomb. Bang! And the grass gives up, and love is a shadow, and love is a fishtail waving through nicks of thread that seem eyes, but are only what's left of me on the last evening after the bands have suicided out. The carnival has left town, and they've blown up the YWCA like a giant balloon and sent it out to sea full of screaming, lovely, lonely girls. I was born to hustle roses down the avenues of the dead. River gut, girl, river, dam, drown. People going in and out of books and doors and graves. People dressed in pink, getting haircuts and tired, and dogs in Vivaldi. You missed the cat argument. The gray was tired, mad, flipping tail, and he monkeyed with the black one who didn't want to be bothered. And then the black one chased the gray one, pawed it once. The gray one said, "Yo!" Ran away, stopped, scratched its ear, flicked at a straw, popped in the air, and ran off, defeated and planning. As a white one, another one, ran along the other side of the fence chasing a grasshopper. Somebody shot Mr. Kennedy. The best way to explain the meaning of concourse is to forget all about it or any meaning at all. Is Just something that grows or does not grow, lives a while and dies a long time. Life is weak. The rope around a man's neck is stronger than the man because it does not suffer. It does also not listen to Brahms, but Brahms can get to be a bore and even suffering when you are locked in a cage with sticks almost forever. I remember my old man rage because I did not sweat when I mowed his lawn twice over while the lucky guys played football or jacked off in the garage. He threw a 2x4 at the back of one of my legs, the left one. I have a blood vessel that juts out an inch there now, and I picked up the lob and threw it into his beautiful roses and limped around and finished the lawn, not sweating, and 25 years later I buried him. It cost me $1,000. He was stronger than I was. I see the river now, grass fish limping through, milk blue. She's taking off her stockings. She's beginning to cry. She looks at me. She's crying. My car needs 2 new front tires. Coming through the doorway, a lump of cancer along the inside of his left leg. He wore a green silk shirt, old-fashioned black and white shoes, hair clipped all over his head but needing a shave, yellow wrinkled pants, dark shades. He gave the note to the teller, who was female, went crazy and screamed. He hit her across the face with a gun butt, reached a handful of 20s from the drawer, and turned in time to get the uniform guard, a fat guy, very big butt, grew Rose's name, Rossard. Rossard went down on the big fat butt, a very beautiful red coming out on his shirt like roses. The bandit started running half sideways toward the door, looking for somebody to shoot, looking for a hole in the sky, way to make it. The people seemed to fit into the walls, and he made it outside, still running half bent, and then the squad car came from the other way. He saw it and ran up an alley. The 2 cops jumped right out and ran up the alley. Then you heard the shots. Very loud in that dark valley between the downtown buildings. The violence and gamble and anger of all men screaming. Then it was quiet. You thought of bread baking or men under oxygen tents. When the ambulance came, they carried out one cop, put him in first, then carried out the bandit, put him in the same ambulance, and the cop who was standing, holding, waiting, standing there holding his wrist where he'd been shot, he suddenly fainted, and they put him in too and drove off. And the people stood talking and talking and talking and talking. I get very tired of poetry, don't you? How about a short story? The little tailor was quite happy. He just sat there sewing. It was when the woman came to the door, rang the bell, that he became disturbed. "Sour cream, I have sour cream for sale," she told him. "Get away, you stink," he told her. "I don't want your goddamn sour cream." "You," she said, "your place stinks. Why don't you throw out the garbage?" She ran off. It was then that the tailor remembered the 3 dead bodies. One was in the kitchen, stretched along in front of the stove, and another was upright, hung by its collar in the closet, stiff and standing there. And the third was in the bathtub, sitting upright. Well, not exactly upright, rather slouched upright, for the head could just be seen above the rim of the tub. The flies were beginning to come around, and that was bad. The flies seemed very happy with the bodies. They were drunk with the bodies. And when he swatted at them, they became very angry. He never heard flies buzz in such anger. They even attacked and bit him, so he let them be. He sat down to sew again, and the bell rang again. Looks I'll never get any sewing done, he thought. He went to the door. It was his pal, Harry. "Hello, Harry." "Hello, Jack." Harry came in. "What's the stink?" "Dead bodies." "Dead bodies? You kiddin'?" "No, look around." Harry found them with his nose. He found one in the kitchen, then one in the closet, then the one in the tub. "Why'd you kill him? Are you gone crazy? What you trying to do?" "Why don't you hide the bodies, get rid of them? Are you crazy, man? Why'd you kill him? Why don't you call the police? Are you out of your mind? God, are you nuts? God, it stinks. Listen, baby, man, don't get near me. What are you trying to do? What's going on? Ah, God, Jesus, the stink. I'm getting sick." Oh, my, let's see. Jack just kept sewing. He just sewed and sewed and sewed. It was as if he were trying to hide. "Jack, I'm going to call the police." Harry went toward the phone, but then he got sick. He went to the bathroom and vomited in the crapper, while the head of that dead body in the tub just stuck out over the rim. He came out and made the phone. He found that by taking out the mouthpiece, he could slip his penis into the phone. He slid it back and forth, and it felt good. Very good. Soon he completed his act, hung up the phone, zipped up, and sat down across from Jack. "Jack, are you insane?" "Becky says she thinks I am crazy. She threatens to have me committed." Becky was Jack's daughter. "Does she know about all these dead bodies?" "Not yet. She's on a trip to New York. She's a buyer for one of the large department stores. She got herself a good job. I'm proud of that girl." Does Maria know?" Maria was Jackie's wife. "Maria doesn't know. She don't come around no more. Since she got that job at the bakery, she thinks she's, something. She's living with another woman up there. Sometimes I think she's turned into a dyke." "Well, man, I can't call the police on you. You're my friend. You gotta settle it for yourself." "But you mind tell me why you killed these people?" "I dislike them." "But you just can't go around killing people you dislike." "I dislike them very much." "Jack." "Ah?" "You want to use the phone? If you don't mind." "It's your phone, Jack." Jack got up and unzipped. He slipped his penis into the phone. He slid it back and forth, and it felt good. He completed the act, zipped up, sat down, and began sewing again. Then the phone rang. He went back to the phone. "Oh, hello, Becky. Nice of you to call. Oh, I feel all right. Oh, yeah, we took the mouthpiece out of the phone, that's why. Harry and I. Harry's here now." "Harry's what?" "You really think so?" "I think he's all right." "Nothing. I'm just sewing." "Harry's sitting here." "Ah, kind of dark afternoon. Really gloomy when you think about it. No sun. People walking by the window with ugly faces. Yeah, I'm all right. I feel all right. No, not yet." "Oh, no, but I have a frozen lobster in the refrigerator. I just love lobster." "No, I haven't seen her. She thinks she's hot shit now, now." "Yeah, I'll tell her. Don't worry. Goodbye, Becky. Hey, thanks for calling. Goodbye, Becky." Jack hung up and sat down again, began sewing again. Said Harry, "that reminds me. When I was a young man, God damn these flies, I'm not dead. Cut! When I was a young man, I used to have this job, me and this other kid. The job was washing down these dead bodies. We got some good-looking women in there sometimes. I came in one time, and Mickey, I was the other kid. He'd mounted one of these women. "Mickey," I said, "what are you doing? Shame, shame." He just looked at me sideways and kept going. When he got down, he said, "Harry, I've screwed at least a dozen or 2 dozen of them. They're good, it's all good. It don't dry, it's right there. Try her. You'll see." "Oh, no," I said. "Well, one time when I was washing down a real good one, I kind of fingered her, but I never could do any more than that." Jack kept sewing. "You think you would have tried one, Jack?" "Hell, I don't know. I have no way of knowing." He kept sewing. Then he said, "Listen, Harry, I've had a hard week. I want to eat something and get some sleep. I got some lobster, but I'm funny. I like to eat alone. I don't enjoy eating with people. So, you want me to leave? You're a bit upset. So, okay, I'll leave." Harry stood up. "Don't go away mad, Harry. We still friends. Let's keep it that way. We've been friends a long time." "Sure, since '33. Remember those days? FDR, the NRA, the WPA. But we made it. These kids today just don't know. They sure don't. Well, good night, Jack. Good night, Harry." Jack walked Harry to the door, opened the door, watched him walk away. Still the same old baggy pants. The guy always did dress like a smuck. Then Jack walked into the kitchen, got the lobster out of the freezer, and read the instructions. They always had fucked up instructions. Then he noticed the body in front of the stove. He'd have to get rid of the body. The blood had long ago dried beneath it. The blood had long ago hardened on the floor. The sun finally came out from behind a cloud. It was very late afternoon, almost evening, and the sky became pink, and some of the pink came through the kitchen window.
You could almost see it come through, slowly, like the giant feeler of a snail. The body was face downward, face turned toward the stove, and under the body the right arm was twisted, with the open, upturned hand sticking just outside the left side of the body. The pink feeler of the snail lit on the hand. It made the hand pink. Jack noticed the hand, so pink. It looked very innocent. Just a hand, a pink hand by itself. It was like a flower. For a moment, Jack thought that it had moved. No, it hadn't moved. A pink hand, just a hand, an innocent hand. Jack stood there looking at the hand. Then he sat down with the lobster and looked at the hand. Then he began to cry. He put the lobster down and put his head in his arms there at the table and began to cry. He cried for a very long time. He cried like a woman. He cried like a child. He cried like anything. Then he walked into the other room and picked up the phone. "Operator, I want the police department." "Yes, I know it sounds funny. The mouthpiece is missing. But I want the police department." Jack waited. "Yes? Well, listen, I just killed a man. 3 men. I'm serious. Yes, I'm serious. I want you to come get me. And bring a wagon to take the bodies. I'm insane. I've lost my mind. I don't know how it happened. What?" Jack gave them an address. What? I don't understand. What? Oh, that's because the mouthpiece is missing. I did. I screwed the phone. Jack hung up, made it back to the kitchen. He didn't cry anymore. He just sat there, the sun no longer pink. The sun was gone, it was getting dark, and he thought about Beck, and then he thought about killing himself, and he didn't think about anything. The packaged South American lobster sat by his left elbow. He never got to eat that lobster. Bukowski, mothers, creep your strepos and go to hell. See you later. I may make Paris yet. About Paris, etc. May, gross, yeah. Still Bukowski working. I'm afraid getting drunker, and I guess oh hell. Stuff. I may make Paris yet. Big deal. The next stanza begins something like this. And I will send you a great sealed letter with a black scrawl at the bottom, thick and demented. I will play famous and you will smile. Now I see some orange roses. This is good. There's no shock for me in orange roses. Not today. If they ever stick out of my vest or a cup, it will be the same. I see smoke out of my window. Time to quit. It may be fire. Bukowski.